New commitment for Notre Dame in the 2025 class. It's a name that you guys might be familiar with. Notre Dame's newest commitment being Jerome Bettis Jr., a.k.a. the minivan. I believe I've seen that on some social media. The other recruits call him the minivan. Of course, the son of the bus, committing to the Fighting Irish from Atlanta Woodyard Academy, 6'3", 185 pounds. You guys see the rankings. Pick Notre Dame over Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, recently visited there, UCF, Arkansas, a handful of other power conference schools, Cal, Duke, Purdue, Louisville, Missouri, list goes on. So Notre Dame landing this legacy prospect, not much of a surprise, Tim. But before we dive into some of the details of his recruitment in some of the other notes, yeah, let's pop on the film. This is what I took from a single game in his junior season, and then we'll watch some of his junior tape. But what do you think about this get for the Irish here, Tim? What do you see on Bettis' film?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, number one is the name is going to be huge. So, that's just going to be awesome. It's going to stink for the recruits to see his dad every weekend during home games, right? When the legend Jerome Bettis is on campus. So that's
Sarcasm.
the thing. Exactly. But he's a big dude. One thing when you see his films, like, man, he's a big wide receiver. So where does that fit in the whole grand scheme of things? His film, you don't see tons of explosive stuff, a lot of intermediate type routes and whatnot. Very physical, I feel. Is he going to be more of a red zone guy? Is he a curl type guy, an out guy to the wide side, that type of thing? It's going to be interesting to see where that goes from there. His junior film is a lot better than a sophomore film. And I think that's when they offered him and stuff of that nature. He's got some more explosive plays. The one thing that jumped out to me, Mike, is his physicality on defense is legit. He really is a good-looking defensive football player. So does he keep growing? Does he get moved? And I'm saying that in a good way, not a bad way whatsoever. Just, when I talk about his physicality and the size that he has. So people go watch his junior film, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Here it is right here, filling it. He's got a handful of plays where he's just running around knocking people out. So good football down there in Georgia as well. So it's a big name, and we'll jump into that as well here.
Yeah, my thought on him is I think he has a fairly high floor as a wide receiver. You guys saw on some of those clips that I took, like him, those little curl routes, and he's going to the ball, snagging with his hands. Here's a little note. You guys see under the goalpost there that big dude in the purple shirt? That was me. So that was it. We just watched this clip of him catching the ball in the red zone. Like, he looks like pretty, I feel, fluid and a consistent receiver. And if he puts it all together as well, nice contested grab. See them putting the his hands out there, snagging it with his mitts. Like, I think if he's able to put this together and be like a really solid boundary receiver, Tim, I went to his high school to interview him about his commitment. You can find that article at blueandgold.com. I just saw he's taller than me. I'm 6'2.5". So we're talking about a pretty big dude. If receiver doesn't work out, he can play safety. That is a nice way to read, react, fly downhill, and make a stop. Here he is in coverage, making an interception. Listen, if you're out here thinking, oh, Notre Dame's just offering because of his last name, whatever. Let's pop on the film and let's watch him. The dude's got some tools, the size, him catching with his hands, the genetics, how good he looks on both sides of the ball. Yeah, I mean, I like this take for Notre Dame, Tim. Shoot me. I mean, yeah. I like the player that Notre Dame has here.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a top 100 wide receiver and whatnot, and you could say whatever whatnot, about him, but you just watch the film and you do see an athletic guy. You do see a guy that could do some things. He's and the reason why I like him as safety, just because I just love the way he flies around and hits people. It reminds me of a lot of the guys that Notre Dame have, signed. You get, Rezak, who could be a down in the box, outside backer, deep safety. Benny Powell is that type of guy. Heck, Luke Talich, Mike, everyone's talking about Luke Talich. The dude's a walk-on, and people are praising him as a walk-on about starting at Notre Dame. So I think he's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for, because so many times people just look at the ranking instantly and have a judgment. If you watch his junior film, he's a pretty good football player. And he's not afraid. He is not afraid, and that's the good thing I like. So wherever he plays, a wide receiver, expect him to be a physical, punishing blocker, intermediate type route type guy. I think he's going to be a red zone guy. He probably like a Corey Robinson who played at Notre Dame, 10 years ago. People remember that type of body and that type of frame there. And then if he does get moved to defense, I like it because he is an athlete.
Yeah.
And I think he goes that model, as I just mentioned here, the athletes that they've recruited.
Yeah. So you have the son of Jerome Bettis committed. Fantastic career at Notre Dame, and then with the Steelers. Man, this track record for Notre Dame in recent years of not only signing sons of NFL players, but we're talking high profile Jerome Bettis, Brian Urlacher, Plexico Burris, Ike Taylor. On Wednesday night, we had this guy. I mean, this was, he signed before Freeman's time, but John Alt, with Joe Alt.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, just a little, NFL Hall of Famer.
Flanagan, who's one of the great.
Too bad. I mean, the list, Tim, really goes on and on.
No, you're right. It's awesome. And Notre Dame's got an in with these guys, which is fascinating. And then you go to the transfer portal and you pick Clark from Arizona State. His dad plays for a decade in the NFL. So it's a fascinating thing that Notre Dame's got going. And these are all guys coming to play. They all have the ability to play at Notre Dame. And I think that's the most positive thing.
Yeah. So, folks, that is the news. Jerome Bettis Jr., 6'3", 185-pound wide receiver, committing to Notre Dame on Pot of Gold Day, Tim. The Irish are up to 18 commitments in the 2025 class. I'm going to be writing about this more at Blue and Gold. 8 of them, so just under half, were Pot of Gold Day offers last year. So that is a boatload of guys that Notre Dame had offered on this important day a year ago, then end up committing to the Irish. So at blueandgold.com, if you're on the website, looking at my Twitter account at Mike T. Singer, we've been reporting all day about these class of 2026 guys who Notre Dame is offering. So you have Bettis committing on Pot of Gold Day exactly a year after getting his offer from Notre Dame, and then the Irish offering dozens upon dozens upon dozens of players in the 2026 class. So again, go to my Twitter account, go to blueandgold.com for information on the new players that Notre Dame's offering of the current high school sophomore players going into their junior year. So again, folks, Jerome Bettis Jr. announcing his commitment to the Fighting Irish. Read more about it over at blueandgold.com. Appreciate you all for watching, and as always, we will catch you next time.